Welcome, everyone. I'm Kevin Dyches. I'm with Tri-County CMO. I've been with Tri-County CMO for the last 10 years now. I'm in my 10th year at Tri-County CMO. Wow, I'm old. So I'm starting to get old. I'm starting to get there. But I'm looking forward to doing this presentation for you, right? So we're going to be talking about ages and stages. We're going to be talking about parenting, but not through the eyes of the child. We're going to talk about it through the eyes of the parent. What stages we go through. What should we be thinking about when we have a child, right? And how their stages match ours as we go through parenting. So let's move forward. So our introduction, right? On this slide, you'll see we're just going to be talking about what we'll talk about during the day today, right? So it's designed to provide information on parenting skills and knowledge. The program is focused on building connections between parents and children by increasing self-awareness, self-image as it relates to parenting. And we will build on the skills that all persons possess and describe how parenting and parents continue to develop as childs develop, right? So as we move forward, we're going to get into affirmations of self-worth, right? So it's super important, right? That as a parent that we have worth in ourselves, right? How can we give it to our children if we don't feel these about ourselves, right? So as you see here on number 1, my life has meaning, has purpose, and I have the power to create positive change, right? All of us have that inside of us if we want to look for it, if we find a way to apply that to those around us. Number 2, I have overcome challenges, obstacles in the past, and I have the resilience to overcome them in the future, right? So all of us, we make mistakes, right? Maybe we haven't done everything we'd hoped to do or followed through on the things that we wanted to do, right? But we can overcome that, right? We're still here, we're still breathing, we're still moving. We have our opportunity to do better on behalf of our children, on behalf of those who depend on us around us. And then number 3, I am a unique individual with my own set of strengths and talents that make me special, right? And I think that is every person, right? Just the statistics on each one of us, all 8 billion of us being here today is wild. It's just a wild thing. Do your best to recover from whatever the mistakes were. You are unique. You are right, just like a fingerprint, right? We all have a fingerprint. Each human is their own fingerprint. They're their own version of themselves. So make sure you say these things. Make sure you start to believe these things. And if you even don't believe it yet, fake it till you make it. Say it until you feel it, right? Until you're overwhelmed by that feeling within inside yourself. So as we move on, let's look at the areas of parental growth, right? So stage 1, the image making stage, or the planning for a child pregnancy stage. And we're going to go into each one individually. So on this slide, I'm just going to tell you what they are, and then we'll dig into each one individually as we move forward. And then stage 2, the nurturing stage, or the infancy stage of the child. Stage 3, the authority stage, the toddler and preschool stage. So it's authority stage for us, right? But toddler and preschool for the child. Stage 4, for us, the interpretive stage, right? And for the child, we're talking about middle childhood, right? That 10 to 12. And we'll talk about the ages and what that means when we get there. Stage 5, the interdependent stage, or adolescence, where I imagine it's wild. I have not reached that yet. I have kids of my own. I have a 4-year-old son who's going to be 5 soon, and I have a 1.5-year-old daughter. So I have not reached the middle age. I'm only at stage 3, right? But I imagine when you get to the stage 5, it gets a little different. Things change, right? And then stage 6, the departure stage, right? Early adulthood. They're going to college. They're going to vocational school. They get a job, right? There's no one way to be successful in America, right? You can do however you want to do, right? But we're processing our child moving forward. We're processing having an empty home for whatever they're going to be doing, or maybe they're still there and we're processing that, whatever it might be for you, right? But these are going to be the stages that we're going to talk about and that we're going to go through in general, right? Everybody, you have always the middle group, and then you have those who excel above and those who maybe underperform at times, right? But that's in general what we go through when it comes to the stages. So let's dig into stage 1. So the image making stage, right? So this is child age 0, right? We're just planning. The baby's still in the belly, right? And we're still working towards who we're going to be, right? As parents, and how are we going to parent? Are we going to are we religious? Are we going to bring them into that? How are we going to discipline, right? So the stage task or focus is the prospective parents consider what it means to be a parent and plan for changes to accommodate a child. Who are we going to be? Who are we going to be as parents, right? How are we going to deal with frustration? How are we going to be an example for them? How are we going to show them what love is, what a relationship should be, right? And everybody has different ways to go about this, right? Everybody believes different things, right? But you have to set whoever the two people are in the house, that you two are on the same page, that you two are doing whatever is best that you feel inside of your home. So that's stage 1, the image making stage. Stage 2, the nurturing stage, right? So this is age 1 to 2. So they're here. right? And we have not slept in the last year, right? So this is the infancy stage. So the main tasks and goals in this area is parents develop an attachment relationship with the child and adapt to the new baby, right? And wonderfully here in New Jersey, we have leave. I spent an amount of time with my kids I could never expect, right? I couldn't believe it. And of course, COVID came, right? So I had 2 years with my son at home, and then I have 4 months with my daughter, right? Where you're just building attachment, right? You're not really like, you're just trying to show love. When they cry, that you show up, that you change them, that you take care of them, right? You're just establishing that I am here. I will respond to your needs. I'm here to do whatever is necessary so that you clear, like boil it down, make sure that you're staying alive, right? Period at this point, right? Feeding you, changing you. But you're still like that first stage, that parenting when baby's still in the belly, that never stops, by the way. You're always planning and changing and redirecting whatever you have to do on behalf of these young people, right? So that throughout all of these stages, that stage one, that zero stage, it continues throughout all of them, because you have to continue to manage and move and figure out what's best and what's best for your family at that time, because things change. Stage 3. I'm sorry, keep going. the authority stage. So the age of the child is 3 to 5 at this point, right? So toddler, preschool age, that's where I'm at right now. It gets tough. Like, it gets tough out there, right? So watch out. So the main tasks and goals, the parent creates rules and figure out how to effectively guide their child's behaviors. This is a tough one, right? Because the child is starting to experience power, but has no idea how to wield it. They know that they want things, right? They know that they want them, they're willing to get them however they want, right? They'll hurt your feelings. They'll do whatever they have to do because they're not taking in all the other stuff that comes along with this, right? But we have to establish whatever it is. What is our standard? This is where we should be setting the standard. What is the baseline expectations I have of you, right? Whether this is how you treat people, because they're going to start to talk at this time, they're going to start to walk, and they're going to, like I said, they're understanding power, and they want to get the things that they want, even if it's a toy or it's an ice cream or whatever it might be, right? They're going to start wielding that, right? And how are we going to establish that? How do we as parents remain consistent in that? It's the most important thing, right? Because if we are not consistent, they will find those holes and they will poke them, right? They are tested, they are limit testers by nature, right? It is what they do as children, right? So we have to make sure that we stay on them. We have to stay on top of them, and that we're secure. And not that you can't change, right? Not that your rules can't change, that things, but you have to set a standard and move from there, right? And the standard should be the standard, and then you build from there. As they get older, as they change, you'll make changes as the child changes. So as we get to stage 4, the interpretive stage, right? So this is ages 5 to 9. Middle age, right? So they're starting very smart at this point, right? And by the way, I don't want to not say this, right? Children can comprehend way before they can speak, right? I should have said this at one of the previous slides, but I don't want to go. They think way before they can talk to you. So please, I'm talking about from 11 months, 6 months, like this, they start to understand that, right? So please don't lose that focus on that, right? Just because they can't talk, they know what's going on, how we speak, how we behave, everything is being observed at all times. So we have to make sure, right? And I am not perfect by any means, right? You lose it, you get frustrated, things will happen, but I just want you to be aware, right? Because I've worked with a lot of families over a significant amount of time, and I think one of the main mistakes that a lot of parents make is that they underestimate comprehension versus being able to speak words before they can, right? And please don't underestimate these kids. And this doesn't matter. Your kid can have developmental disabilities. You can have autism, right? They can have, right? Or they could be neurotypical, right? But the standard should still be a standard. The standard should still be set that they have things that they should reach, that we're always assuming intelligence at all times. So back to the slide. I'm sorry I didn't say that earlier, but I wanted to make sure I said that, everybody. So stage 4, the interpretive stage, 5 to 9, middle age, just to get us back on track. So main tasks at this point, parents help their children interpret their experiences within the social world and beyond. How are you going to treat people, right? What groups do you want to be around? Who do you want to spend time with? What do you believe? Right? Right. As you're establishing, whether it be religion, whether it believe, they're going to start to learn on a daily basis about what the world is, what our history was, what our future might be, right? What it is presently, right? So we have to help them understand the social world, at least from an objective point. I'm going to try my best to be objective as I can. There's some things I believe wholeheartedly that I will instill in my kids, right? Because in my opinion, I want to teach my son how to be, not what to be. I want to teach him how to treat human beings. I want to treat him how to function around others, right? What he will do with his life, how he will work, the things that he chooses to be passionate about, right? In my opinion, my job is exposure, right? Exposure to the world, and I will allow my children to make that choice for themselves as I continue to try to expose them, right? Now, you might have another way, right? And that's okay if you do it your way, right? But I want them to live the lives that they want. I want it to be something that they want, right? While I instilled the fundamentals, right? If I am, hopefully I reach to be an old man, and hopefully I can see my son being good to others, caring for others. If he amasses a lot of resources, then he's using them to serve other people with them, not just himself, and my daughter, not just herself, right? Doesn't matter what they do. I just want them to be good people, make sure they're contributing to the people around them, all right? And like I said, you could do it your way, right? But these are just my general thoughts when it comes to this age and helping them. Who are they going to be socially? Who are they going to move towards as they get older? We're going to move on to stage 5, the interdependent stage, right? So the ages of 10 to 16, right? So I have less personal experience in this, and when it comes to my own children, but however, I've been working in social work since I've been 23. I am now 37 years old, so I have a lot of insight on these adolescents, right? And our main task, I think, at the interdependent stage for us as parents, right? Parents renegotiate their relationship with their children to allow for shared power and decision making, right? And I know everybody's not going to really agree with that one, right? Because you're dealing with teenagers who can be a bit feral at times, right? And you have to really, but how are they going to be adults if we don't teach them, right? I want them to be under my home while making decisions, right? The decisions that I hope that I can hopefully give them, that I can make so they can learn how to make decisions. Life is about choices, right? So if I don't teach them under my wing, they will learn someplace else, right? They will either learn indirectly or directly, right? There's almost no way. You're always parenting, whether you want to or not, right? Always parenting. So it's either indirect or direct. And I want it to be as direct as it possibly can, right? To helping them shape that, and who are they going to be, right? Who do you want to be? Right now they're going to have issues, right? They might run into issues in high school. They're going to run into issues in middle school, right? And how are we going to negotiate that? Who are we going to be as parents? And are we going to be able to change, right? Because I think when at one of those earlier stages, I think when you're in that 1 to 2 stage, when your child needs to start sleeping on their own, right? I think it's the first time as a parent you start to experience like, I can't do this for them, right? It's the first thing that you have to do. They have to learn how to sleep on their own, right? I can maybe put them down, stay close, be in the rocking chair next to, even still to this day. My daughter's 1.5. I just put her in her crib and I sit on to the side, and she's usually asleep within 15 minutes, but I do nothing else. She gets her bottle, she gets put in, she falls asleep, I will walk out. I think to this point I could walk out, but I think she's comfortable. She likes that I stay, and my daughter's only going to be 1.5 for so long, so I'm going to stay a little bit longer each time, right? But it's just that experience of knowing there's going to come a time where they're going to have to do this, right? And I want them to find independence with my guidance, under my eye, so I can hopefully catch them and just change their direction a little bit, right? I don't want to control them totally. I don't want my children to be mindless and not critical thinkers and things like this, right? But I just want to make sure I shift that, like, ooh, like, all right, I like where you're headed, but you got to make sure you kind of veer a little bit here, right? And I think that's going to be a very important stage, right? Letting them be, letting them grow, right? And not feeling like we have to control every moment on their behalf. And I imagine this is going to be a massive task for me when I get to this stage, right? All right, we're going to move on to stage 6 now, the departure stage, right? The early childhood. So we're talking about that 16 to 26, and I know it goes all the way up to 26 now, since they can stay on our insurance until they're 26, right? So, right, so they might still be around, right? I stayed on the insurance. I did it, right? As long as I possibly could. But the main task and goals in this area is the parent to evaluate their success and failures as parents, as their children become interdependent, right? Did I do well? Did I do enough? Did I show up when I was supposed to show up? Looking back on your mistakes, right? Who are they, right? And I don't think it stops either, right? They're always gonna be my babies. They're always gonna be my children ultimately throughout this life. But they're gonna start finding and dating, and at this stage, they're gonna maybe getting married, maybe looking to building their career. All the things they're gonna be doing, graduating, going up to different levels of college, or gaining new skills and vocation, whatever they choose to do as they move forward in this life, right? And we just have to make sure that we evaluate that, we understand their successes and failures as parents, as their children, as they become independent people. So we're gonna move on to the next stage. So the parenting path to success, right? So we're just gonna talk about like a general overview or a general steps that we can take to hopefully be successful as a parent, right? So number one, planning. How are you preparing today for tomorrow, right? Are you thinking about this? I can almost never go a day without considering, like, what are we doing? What's for dinner, right? What are we doing this weekend, right? What are we doing with sports, right? You're always planning, whether it be the most lower level things or planning for the unexpected thing that's going to come up, or somebody is sick or somebody gets hurt, right? Whatever it might be, you're always planning. Number two, your presence, being available, right? Being available is so important in creating a healthy family life, right? And I know that's very contrary, I think, in a lot. If you think about the history of the United States of America, the men go out and work, right? And they do as much as they can. And I do see a change in that, right? I pick my kids up from school, I take them to school. And I'm not saying that this is what you have to do, but I think it's generally important, almost more important for my presence to be there more than it is monetary. Not that I don't, obviously we need to eat, we have to have a home and cars and things like this, but my presence, I don't want to ever underestimate what it means to be, for me and my wife, to be there on a day-to-day basis to help them through whatever they have to be helped through. Number three, caring. How are you showing care? Hugs, playing games together, making time for those you love, self-care, right? Whether it's like, I play Candyland all the time. We even keep like our little charts inside the box on Candyland for my son and my wife. My daughter's still a little bit young. She hangs out with us, but she can't really play yet, right? But how are you showing care? What is that to you? For us, it's spending time playing board games or coloring, right? Whatever it is to you, do that thing. It could be hunting. You could want to teach them how to archery and want to shoot a rifle, or it could be bowling. It doesn't matter. To be honest with you, it does not matter what it is. Just spend time and care and have fun, show love as much as you possibly can. Modeling, right? I think this is one of the hardest things you have to do. Not to tell your kid what to do, but to be what you want them to be. I think it's the hardest thing any parent has to do, right? Like, I even look at I've been walking every day. I'm trying to lose weight, right? I could tell my son all day long he's got to eat his veggies and exercise, but to see me get up and walk out of the front door and my kids are waiting for me at the top of the steps when I get back from my morning walk, right? I find that super powerful. I think it's powerful for them to see me trying to do it, right? And maybe seeing me lose weight and seeing me choose a better food, right? Whatever that is for you, you want to model what your expectations are for your kids. Can you be what you want them to be? And then learning, moving on from mistakes and not repeating them over and over again, right? Learning from our mistakes and being accountable. I think being accountable to our kids' face, right? Saying, oh my gosh, I overreacted there. I apologize, right? I will absolutely say that. I'm like, my bad. Like, because I thought I heard something I didn't, and my wife was like, no, it wasn't. I'm like, okay. But you know what? Like, I want to make sure I'm on top of those things, but I also have to, if I go too far or if I maybe misunderstood what was going on, that I'll be accountable to that. Like, I apologize. It was my fault, and move on from that and learn from it. And I think that's super powerful as a parent, because it shows them that you don't believe that you're perfect, right? And then you also have accountability, right? There's something very powerful about that. And then number 6, smiling, right? Giving positive energy, focusing on the things that are going well on behalf of your young kid. I think it's super important, right? Things will always be going bad, right? And we tend to lean on, right? We give the most energy to our kids when they're doing something wrong, right? Because we don't want them to be hurt. We don't want them, right? Because one mistake, we're soft tissue human beings. One mistake, right? And like, a lot of bad things can happen, right? But we have to find those morsels of positivity of that we can bring to them, and always trying to point it out, even in the worst of situations, right? It helps build their inner portfolio. It helps them feel good, right? Like what they project out. Because a lot of kids that are out there that are challenged, their inner portfolio tells them that they're not good, that they're terrible, right? Because all they've heard is that, right? Because everybody wants to focus on what's not going right, what's going wrong instead of what's going right, right? So we have to do our best. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect every day, right? Life is not about perfection. To me, life is about probabilities. So every 10 times this thing happens, how many times can I be successful? And if I can find the positive 6 out of 10 times, 60%, that's pretty good to me. Like, I like 60%, right? Like, right, it's not about, in some weeks you might be 10 for 10, and in some weeks you might be 2 for 10, right? But can we set that average where we're almost like our probability is high of me finding this positive thing on behalf of my child? So we're gonna move into a little bit different section here. We're gonna talk about the primary goal of parenting is to be present, connected, availability is the best ability. And we all have a choice on who we want to be in this situation, right? Because it's never going to be easy, right? What it means to stay around, what it means to show up, what it means for us as the parent to have to grow. Oh, it's tough. Oh, it's tough, right? To have that introspective look at yourself, to be accountable to yourself on behalf of them, right? I think about it all the time. I'm like, I hope I can be this, right? I hope I can be this. But then we'll move on to this next slide here about a parenting quote. So the delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. And that was by Steven Spielberg, right? And it is my number one goal as a parent is that I set the foundation, that I teach my son how to be and not what to be, and that he can create what he wants in this world. I don't want to ever limit his imagination to my imagination. I want him to be as wide open as space, right? There's some place he can fathom not doing whatever it is that he, like, I don't care if it's garbage man, just be productive. Productivity is what my expectation is, right? And that's what's okay if that's what keeps you at home, right? Or you can go be a politician, you can be a chef, like it does not matter to me, right? Be productive, be good to those around you, right? And I just love that quote, right? Because it's about building someone else so that they can be exactly what they want to be. And I think that's awesome. So we're going to get into some parenting resources here to talk about that are in the general community around you. So parenting resources, of course, we're going to talk about Tri-County CMO. I think it is one of the best places you can come, I believe, to receive services. I've worked at every level of mental health, whether it be in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, right? And I've never seen something as powerful as a CMO and care management organization. I wish every state in the country was mandated to have them, right? At Tri-County CMO management organization, it takes families focused, community-based leadership role in supporting the needs of the youth and the family who are experiencing behavioral, emotional, social, developmental, and mental health challenges, right? It's free in New Jersey. We come to your home, therapists, BAs, whatever it might be, we want to provide you with that so you can get the best support to move forward and hopefully reach those stages that we talked about earlier and get through them in a way that you believe is effective, in the way that you would like to do it. We have the Fatherhood Center. The Fatherhood Center of New Jersey is an innovative community organization that believes that children grow best when father figures are involved in the lives of their children, right? And the Father Center offers fathers the emotional, social, economic resources to improve their lives and those of their children. And I will say, you look a lot around at resources in the world, the United States of America, there's not a lot of organizations where I hear father in the name, right? It's usually dedicated to moms and whatever it might be, right? So I just love hearing the fact that there's somebody out here looking to directly serve men, right? In a way that helps them be a part of their family, be a better husband to whoever they are with, right? Be a better father to the children that they've created, all of these things. So it's another great place. And then lastly, at least on this list, the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, right? So the NJRC. So the New Jersey Reentry Corporation is a nonprofit organization or agency with a social mission to remove all barriers to employment for citizens returning from jail or prison, right? And we were initially doing this for those who are in this situation, and I don't know who it'll reach, but let's just say you're in this position, right? We talked about it earlier, no self-affirmations. Everybody makes mistakes, right? We're going to put those in the past. We'll be accountable for the things that we did, and how are we going to get better? How do we get better moving forward? And New Jersey Entry Corporation will help you do that, right? Help support you, get you in the job, helping you with resumes, things like that, right? Do your best to address it, however you have to address it, and then let's move forward. Let's be positive. How are we going to get back? How are we going to show this young person how to recover from making a mistake? That's what and that you now have an opportunity to show them that it doesn't end with one mistake. I'm just going to get better, and let's see how we can move forward using that. And then we also have the Nurtured Heart approach. Right, so this is something that we use regularly at Tri-County CMO, right? So we try to impart it with families, right? In this approach, so Nurtured Heart seeks to provide a different approach to parenting. We generally default to the tough love, right, approach of our parents used in the past. However, Nurtured Heart hopes to energize any observable piece of positivity while providing clear and immediate accountability with minimal energy. This approach can be applied immediately after this presentation. And I want to take you through a few stands on here on this next slide. So we call them stands because you have to stand up for them, right? It is the standard that is set if you're going to use Nurtured Heart. And by the way, I want to be very clear. So when I first learned Nurtured Heart, I was working in a residential facility. I'm working with gang members. So we worked at a residential facility that took all the kids that all the other residential said no to because they were violent. Violence was kind of the basis, right? So I've used Nurtured Heart with that kind of child, and all different kinds. So from gang members, they could have been developmental disabilities, but the basis was they were violent in that sense. And I'm also a father of a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and I use it with them. So this is very, it's adaptable. It can be used for all different kinds of children, right? So the first stand is absolutely no. I refuse to give any of my time and energy in relationship to negative behavior. I will not accidentally foster failure, nor will I reward problems by responding to them in animated ways. I will save my time and energy for searching for success, for positivity, right? So this does not mean we will ignore negative behavior. We will not reward it with positive energy, right? So when you see something negative, I'm going to respond to it like RoboCop would. Like, no, we're not going to do that, right? I'm not going to give you the most energy you get from me when you're doing something wrong. And that doesn't mean we'll ignore it. We will address it. So absolutely yes. I will relentlessly and strategically pull the child into new patterns of success. I will consistently recognize the success and achievement that the children are displaying, no matter how small the success is, right? We want it to be clear and undeniable evidence that the child has followed through with this positive thing. And I want them to get the most energy from me in this moment, right? Whatever it is that they have done, no matter how small, no matter how big, the most energy they will ever receive from me using the nurtured heart approach is when they're doing the right thing, what I want them to be doing, right? Not what that I don't want them to be doing. And last but not least, and I think one of the most important, is absolutely clear. I will have clear and consistent consequences for children. When a rule is broken, here are the rules, and here's what happens when we break the rule, right? So if we're in the basketball game, everybody knows in a basketball game, if anybody's feet touches that white line, what happens? The whistle blows, the ball goes to the out of bounds, it comes back in. You shouldn't have stepped out of bounds. A toe over the line is a toe over the line, right? And that's what I love about Nurtured Heart, because I know in sounding, in the name, it sounds like we're not being accountable to our kids. We're not teaching them what they need to. No, we're being accountable, but we're shifting our energy, or where we're going to put our energy, and we're going to be absolutely clear, and we're going to be tough. When I was clear. I told you ahead of time, this is what would happen. When it would happen, this is what you did. This is the outcome. You came in the house. I gave you the keys. You were supposed to be home at 11 p.m. You got here at 11:03. Give me those keys, right? And I'm not going to take them for a long time. You don't have the keys tomorrow, right? So you got to figure out tomorrow, and then you get the keys back, right? So I want to get you back in the game. I don't want to leave you out of the game too long, right? I don't want to leave you in timeout too long. If this was it, give me the keys, you have it back, you're off on Wednesday, I'll give it back to you on Thursday morning, and I will be sharp in giving you your keys back, and we'll move forward. And hopefully the next time you'll be home at 11 p.m. or 10:55, even better. And that's what I have for you today, right? So and as we part from each other, I will hope, right, and that if mistakes were made, that you will be accountable to them, that you will do whatever you have to do to rehabilitate yourself, right? And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself also, right? I am a parent, I'm a person who has made mistakes, right? So I am with you. I understand that it's hard. It is inherently hard to be a parent. It's just wild. I'm sitting here thinking of my own life, just how wild it is coming from my parents, and now doing it myself. It is just a crazy thing to go through, but prepare, right? Make sure you're as prepared as you can possibly be, right? And use some of the resources that we have in here for you, right? And then move forward, right? And make sure you establish what you want your home to be, what the standard is, what the vision is you have for yourself, and the vision that you have for your kids, and do your best to bring it to life. And I hope that you're able to use something that I used today to push yourself forward. And I appreciate your time, and have a wonderful day.